Fighting games are awesome. I've been playing fighting games for the past few years, and I've really come to appreciate the style and flair that these games have. Everything from the music, to stages, to characters, to combos, all ooze creativity. And playing games like Guilty Gear Strive and Street Fighter 3 have really ignited my passion and made me want to make a fighting game of my own. I'm not new to GameDev, as I've made plenty of games before, but this is by far the most promising project I've worked on. I've made some other games in the past, namely platformers and some puzzle games. I'll be using GameMaker for this game, since it's what I'm good at, and I think it's the best option for making a 2D sprite-based game. I've been making the game for the past 8 months, and I'm ready to show what I've got so far. This is Knockout Arcade. First things first, I made all of the art assets myself. I love pixel art, and there's some great games made using it. I also went with a more retro-styled arcadey theme with this game, so pixel art naturally fits right in, as well as most early fighting games use 2D pixel art sprites. I chose a resolution of 160 pixels wide by 120 pixels tall, meaning I have to be very careful with how I arrange pixels. There's not a whole lot of room to work with, so each pixel really counts. The stage is an arcade room, with lots of cabinets and stickers, and that weird 90s style carpet you see at arcades. I tried to add as many details as I could, such as the star power-up and 1-up stickers, the ship from Galaga, a fireball, etc. The machines even have games on them. The red one is playing Asteroids, and the blue one is playing Donkey Kong. The main character, and so far the only character in the game, is this guy, Russell. He's a brawler who learned to fight from video games. He has a rushdown type of playstyle, and he likes to get into the opponent's face to set up for high damage combos. He's a frequent visitor of the arcade, and his moves are designed to be straightforward and easy to use. He's definitely the beginner character, kind of like Ryu in Street Fighter or Kirby in Smash Bros. Anyways, as you can tell by the character select screen, there's room for 6 characters here. My plan for this game is to have 6 playable characters when the game releases. I'm working on this game all by myself, and 1 character is hard enough. So 6 might just be my limit in order to release this game sometime within the next decade. I have ideas and plans for what the remaining 5 characters will be, but you'll have to wait a little bit before I spill the details. Creating animations for him is where the majority of time spent developing this game was. That's the thing many people don't realize about fighting games. Each character has dozens, if not 100 different animations for even mundane actions, like standing, walking, ducking, getting hit, getting knocked down, etc. Now don't get me wrong, I love animating, but holy crap, the number of work that goes into making a character for a fighting game is unheard of. And now, let's go over the basic mechanics I've implemented so far. Again, we've got a lot to cover. The movement is standard for a fighting game. Oh, I should mention that you can use either a keyboard, a controller, or an arcade stick to play the game. On keyboard, use WASD to move, and on controller, use the left analog stick. Pretty standard movement, left makes you move left, right makes you move right, you can jump, you can crouch. You can't dash or run or anything like that in this game, although I do plan to add it in a future update. For your normal attacks, you have 3 buttons, light, medium, and heavy. I went with this control layout because I wanted the game to be simpler to get into, and lowering the amount of buttons not only means that there's less buttons to worry about, but also less attacks that I have to animate, so that's a plus. Having fewer moves also gives each move a more distinct purpose. Some games let you have hundreds of moves for a character, but only a few of them are actually useful most of the time. I want each move for my characters to have some sort of purpose, whether that be for combos, poking, pressure, etc. I want each move to feel useful in some way. Each attack has variants for standing, crouching, and jumping. Each attack has its own properties. Light attacks are fast, short range, and don't do a lot of damage, but they can combo easily into other things. Heavy attacks are strong, slower, and have more range, and medium attacks are somewhere in between and can serve many purposes, such as filling out combos, poking, launching, and more. Speaking of combos, here's how the basic combo mechanics work. You can cancel light attacks into medium attacks and medium attacks into heavy attacks. And you can also perform a basic 3-hit combo by pressing the light button 3 times. You can also mix standing and crouching attacks. meaning you can go from a standing light to a crouching medium to a standing heavy, and vice versa. Any combination of those will work. You cannot cancel jump moves, but you can perform attacks as soon as you land. It's pretty easy to understand once you get the hang of it. I kept the system simple to allow new players to easily explore it and to allow veteran players to get the most depth out of it. There aren't any special moves at the moment, but they are planned to be added. To block attacks, hold back, which is the direction away from your opponent. You can block while crouching by holding down and back at the same time. This allows you to block low attacks, and also to stay in place while blocking. In order to block jumping attacks, you have to be blocking while standing. Finally, you can throw the opponent by pressing space on the keyboard, or using the right bumper on a controller. You can only throw the opponent forward at the moment, but I'll soon add a way for the player to do a back throw. You can tech a throw by pressing throw at the same time as your opponent. Throws also go through block, so you have to avoid them by proper spacing. I'll be creating a separate video going over each of Russell's moves and what they do, probably once I have all his moves complete. Right now, I have all of his normals complete, leaving only the special moves left, and a few other miscellaneous animations. There's a whole bunch of other mechanics involved in making the game work, such as hit stop, hit stun, block stun, grabbing, input buffers, and more. I'll leave out the programming specifics because I don't want to bore you with random jargon. However, if you guys want to see a more in-depth look at how this game works, let me know in the comments below. To keep it simply, the player has a simple state machine which controls what state they're in at any given time. Each state handles its own code independent from the other states. This is pretty standard for any given game nowadays. Under the hood, each move is held within a struct that holds the data for each attack. This is stuff like how much damage the attack does, how large the hitbox is, etc. This is very helpful for me because I can copy and paste the data around to create bases for new moves, and editing the properties of existing moves is really simple. As for how hit detection works, each player has a hurt box that is attached to them. This is the blue box around the character. When a player attacks, a red hitbox is created using the properties established by the move struct. When a red hitbox overlaps a blue hurt box, a hit is registered. When this happens, the game pauses for a moment to allow both players to react to what just happened. This is called hit stop. During hit stop, the player can buffer an input to cancel their current move. For example, if a player landed a medium attack, they can input a heavy attack during hit stop, and the heavy attack will come out on the first possible frame. Hit stop is a very common practice used in many games nowadays, and it helps players react, and it helps to sell the impact of the hits. There's a lot going on here, and if there's demand for it, I can make separate videos going over how each system works in detail. But for now, that's the rundown of my code. Some other things I've done are palettes and UI. At the start of the game, you can select a palette by first choosing the character with the light attack button, then you can press left or right to choose a palette. Afterwards, press light again to confirm your selection. And that's just about everything I've wanted to cover. I'll be working on this project for a while, and I fully intend to complete it. Things might get busy for me, as I still have college, internships, friends, and clubs to attend, but I'm hoping to find the time to make these devlogs and continue to work on the game. As stated before, I have 6 characters planned before release, each with a unique mechanic and moveset. I also plan to add a single-player campaign mode, which will have the player adventure through the arcade, defeating opponents, playing minigames, solving puzzles, and more. Ideally, I'd like to have rollback netcode for this game, but it'll be a while before I get around to it. For now, you can play this game locally with 2 players, either with 1 keyboard and 1 controller, 2 controllers, or both players on a keyboard. I also plan to allow players to customize their controls, which might be implemented by the time of the next devlog. I plan to release devlogs every month or so you should expect the next devlog to come out sometime in October. And in the meantime, if you'd like to give this game a try, head on down to the description, where you can download the game from itch.io. It's free and relatively small, so you should have no problems running it, so give it a try. If you're going to play with controllers, please be sure to exit out of Steam in order for it to work. And that's about it. Be sure to try out the game in the description. If you have any bugs to report, suggestions, or anything like that, leave a comment down below or on the itch.io page. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.